So if you just purchased an Airbnb and relying on this cash flow that's been inevitable for the past year, I sincerely apologize. If you're looking to buy an Airbnb, I probably wouldn't right now. I love Airbnb. My name's Kyle Olson and I'm a realtor and an Airbnb investor. But today I wanted to break down some information going over what we're seeing in the Airbnb market and why a lot of people who bought into Airbnb properties in 2021 and the beginning of 2022 may be in for a world of hurt. The economy right now is in shambles, but today I wanted to go over why I personally think that some of these investors will be letting go of their houses. And I want to see what you guys think too. Let me know what you think in the comments if you think I'm right or wrong, or what you think is going to happen to Airbnb. I still think Airbnb is a great way to make extra income, don't get me wrong, but I do think a lot of new Airbnb investors may be in a world of hurt. So let's get into it. All right, guys. So real quick, I wanted to get into more happy statistics real quick before we get into more doom and gloom. So this is pretty cool. Airbnb host statistics. On average, host earns $13,800 annually. That can definitely help your family if you have your home that you can rent out and you can, go somewhere else. Or if you have a second home, it can be another income to make a little bit more money. Average annual earnings amongst hosts have increased 43.8% since 2021. Hosts have collectively earned over $150 billion. 22% of hosts indicate that they chose to host after being an Airbnb guest. The fastest growing host demographic is seniors, which is over 400,000 senior hosts. This is good news as things get more expensive. Seniors who are by themselves, a little older, looking for a little bit more income, this is great. Senior women are consistently rated as the best hosts on Airbnb. In 2016, 320,000 hosts over the age of 60 earned a total of $747 million through Airbnb. Women constitute for 56% of hosts and have earned $32 billion since the company began in 2008. U.S. women earn a collective annual income of $4 billion hosting on Airbnb. Women hosts in Iceland earn average income of $10,200, 29% higher than the average Airbnb income. Experienced hosts have earned an average of $10,000 per year. By experience, I know these numbers are low. A lot of people do Airbnb part-time, but if you have a property that can do it full-time, you can make it substantial more money. But I just want to show you guys that real quick. That's pretty cool. A lot of people making a little bit of extra income on Airbnb. So here's some stats from AIRBNB. According to AIRBNB, demand should still grow in 2022, but at a slower pace than in 2021. In 2021, demand grew by 22.4% compared with 2020. Demand is expected to grow another 14.1% in 2022 over 2021 levels. So these statistics are great. And again, the statistics are months behind. They're taking what they have from April, which is good. But as you probably know, the economy, real estate, everything's changing so fast that I don't think that they take into account how expensive things are right now. Gas, like I said, food, travel. People are not traveling as much as they were at the beginning of this year as we get more doom and gloom with everything going on, wars, all that good stuff. So I think these numbers are going to consistently go down throughout the year. So booking patterns, with travelers learning from this year, we expect that guests will plan even further in advance for 2022 to secure top properties in the most desirable locations. As of Q4 2021, lead times are now exceeding those of 2019. Okay, so here's more trends real quick. I wanted to show you guys the trends that they have for 2022, the rest of 2022. But again, this was at a time when we didn't have this crazy inflation and all of these crazy things going on. Lastly, the doom and gloom. So this ties back into people who bought real estate at the beginning of this year when prices were at their peak. So this just goes to show that we are on a pattern of a market decline in real estate. Number of homes for sale shrank at its slowest pace in April since the start of the pandemic. Home sales fell and price growth slowed as soaring mortgage rates prompted more buyers to throw in the towel. So as a whole, guys, I just wanted to bring all this to your attention because there's so much noise on social media. You always see some Airbnb guru who has 15, 20 properties, and it's super exciting to get into the Airbnb space. And I don't want this to discourage you from getting into the space. I'm just saying right now is not the best time to get into the Airbnb space if you're looking to purchase a house. I do think there's going to be opportunities. If you watch my previous video, you'll see that I am optimistic in real estate. It's just not right now. But these people who bought at the beginning of the year who don't really know what they're doing, maybe they don't have the cash reserves and maybe they didn't get that 30-year fix, they're definitely going to see a slowdown in attendance at their Airbnbs and potentially have to sell for a loss. So their loss can be your gain. Again, be ready. If you do have an Airbnb, make sure that you have a substantial amount of cash in that separate account just in case hard times come to Airbnb and people aren't booking your place as often. For me personally, I have a separate account for my Airbnb. I make sure that's pretty juiced up right now just in case there's a couple months where, things happen and maybe people aren't booking my Airbnb, or maybe another fire happens up in Sequoia National Park. I pray to God that doesn't happen. Last year was a mess. But anyways, I want to make sure you guys are ready. I thought this was pretty interesting because I see a lot of hype on the internet about Airbnbs and people still buying them for cash flow right now in a crazy market and depending on those Airbnb guests to come and stay and those high nightly rates. So just be cautious. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Please leave a comment, subscribe, and let's chat in the comments. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. So some of you that watch my channel might be asking, Kyle, you bought an Airbnb about a year and a couple months ago. You're gonna be in trouble as well. Well, actually, firsthand, I'm seeing people already cancel bookings this summer. Relative to 2021, people were ready to go outside and travel and they wanted to go see national parks and, just get outside from the pandemic. But this year we're seeing a completely different economic standpoint, especially from the consumer. We have extremely high inflation, we have extremely high gas prices, and we have talks of a recession. We've already seen the stock market go, and now we're about to see the real estate market go. So travel demand, at least from what I've seen, has slowed down a little bit. I still have a really, really booked summer for my Airbnb up in Sequoia National Park, but the demand in other places is definitely going down. And I think after this summer, we're gonna see a dramatic slowdown, especially when inflation continues to rise and stick around and everything from foods to gas continues to go up. I think Airbnb hosts will be in a world of trouble. So that's number one. But number two, with interest rates rising, a lot of people get sucked into getting adjustable rate mortgages. And especially when we had lower interest rates, you see these interest rates in the 2% range, in low 3% range. And if you don't have a good realtor or a good lender and someone just trying to sell you, a lot of these people who got into the Airbnb space, who potentially bought their first Airbnb, might not have got a 30-year fixed mortgage. So that's one thing we need to remember too, is that interest rates are rising and a lot of people buy Airbnbs relying on obviously people staying at their Airbnb and prices staying at a certain level, and they don't take into account the economy and having to bring down those nightly rates. So let's just say, for instance, in summer, it's a hot season, we're at $250 per night. And in the winter time, my prices come all the way down to $180 per night, which is a big difference. And that's during a normal world, the normal economic continuing to grow space that people are in and people are feeling like they can still spend money, and that's not the case today. So a lot of Airbnb investors didn't take into account that people are going to hold on to their cash and not travel as much. And obviously you can't predict the future, but gas prices will continue to stay high and inflation will stick around. So that's something they did not take into account when they were purchasing their Airbnb. A lot of hype has been in Airbnb since home prices have been so high. It's basically one of the only asset classes right now where you can still make a really good return on your money. And that's slowly diminishing and the space is getting very, very, very compacted. A lot of people getting into the Airbnb space, but that doesn't mean that you can't stand out from the rest of them. But if there's an adjustable rate mortgage and there was not a 30-year fixed, you're gonna see a lot of these people be underwater. Value of their house is going to be lower than what they purchased it at, and their monthly mortgage payment is going to go up. And if bookings slow down, well, guess what? They're going to be out of pocket paying for that monthly mortgage. And if their traditional job can't support it and they have a lot more expenses, well, they're going to have to sell at a loss. And I think that's going to happen to a lot of people.